Matt here, and welcome to Mob Street. Now tonight, I'm out here with my 2019 TW200, and crazy thing is, I gotta go old school. So my computer decided to break down on me, and my editing program is gone. Everything else that I have to make the videos is non-existent. So it's back to the old cell phone, the way I started when I made my first video. So this is gonna be a one take, run and gun. What you see is what you get. Now, tonight, I wanted to give you an update on the TW. I haven't done one of these for a while, and for those who are considering about whether or not they should buy a TW, hopefully this will shed a little bit of light on whether or not you want one. So, as of right now, again, this is a 2019, bought it brand new off the showroom floor. It had a mile on it, and I am now sitting at 2353 miles, so just under 2,500. I have had it since March of 2019, and it is now December of 2020, and I have not regretted buying this bike once. So I bought it because, well, I told the guy I was working with today, I bought it because to me, the TW is the Harley Davidson of the dual sport world. Now what I mean by that is with my Harley, I like to just get on and just go for a ride and just cruise. I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere. I'm not looking to be the fastest. I'm not looking, to do the craziest turns, carving canyons, whatever it may be. I just wanted a simple, reliable bike that would get me out into the hills and just putt around and just enjoy the scenery. And the TW does exactly that. It's not the fastest, it's not the most capable when it comes to specific obstacles, but it's a great machine just to get out and do exactly what it is that I wanted to do. It's a bike that I wanted to be able to take my kids for rides on. Out here where I live, I've got a little track around my house, and we can spend quite a bit of time just hopping on the bike and just putting around the yard. Or we can just putt around town, run down to the post office and grab the mail. We can jump on it and head up into the hills and just cruise around and just enjoy being out in the countryside, in nature. And it does exactly what it is that I wanted it to do. And I've been extremely happy with it. The other day, I went out riding with my brother-in-law and a friend who, my brother-in-law is on a KLX 250, and the other rider was on a WR 250, and those guys smoked me, going out on the straightaways. And yeah, at the moment I was like, man, I feel bad because I can't keep up with them. But at the same time, that's not what I bought the bike for, to just beeline, down the dirt road. And I had a blast out there riding with them. But if you're looking to just get from point A to point B as fast as you can, and I'm trying to say that in a non-offensive way, then maybe the TW isn't for you. This bike is one that gets you there. It allows you to have fun. It allows you to ride within your abilities. It's perfect for a beginner. It's perfect for an expert rider. You put somebody on this that has ridden motorcycles for a long time, and during that ride, at least once, I guarantee they'll smile. For one reason or another, the TW just makes people smile. It's a fun little bike that gets you out and you can do whatever you want. So in order to make it mine, the very first upgrade that I did was full wraparound handguards. And these handguards have saved the bike multiple times, going down on the left side and the right side. They've saved the bars from bending. They've saved me from dinging up my clutch lever and my brake lever. And it was an inexpensive upgrade that I think is well worth it. Not only do they save the bike, they save your hands, you know, protect them from brush. And when it's cold outside like it is right now, they actually help with the wind protection as well, which make it really, really nice for riding. The next thing that I did was add the Cycle Rack's rear rack. And I've talked about this in multiple videos. I have an installation video, I have a full review video of the Cycle Rack's rear rack. I bought it because of the width of it. You know, it gives a good solid handhold for my kids. It's something that they can grab onto. They actually enjoy riding on it, and it is sturdy as all get out. You know, I've had over 100 pounds on this rack, and I've ridden in all sorts of terrain with it, and it hasn't bent, it hasn't, you know, distorted any. It's just been a good, solid rack. And these are, if I'm not mistaken, they're still $199.99, whether you get them from the Cycle Rack's website or I bought mine at my local dealer. And again, not only is it a support for my kids and for my wife, it also protects the bike when you're going down. So on that ride the other day, I ate it pretty hard, and the rack protected the whole back end of the bike here, and the handguard did the front, and I was able to come away with a bruise, but the bike, you know, the bike remained intact. So along with the rack, I had somebody the other day question about the comfort of the rack, you know, for passengers, and I asked my wife because she has ridden, you know, on the back here quite a bit, and she said, you know what, she actually likes it. It doesn't dig into her thighs at all, and it gives a nice solid support that she can hold on to. And if the wife is happy, everybody's happy. So I have added a front and rear sprocket to this and a new chain because the old chain was stretching. So I did gear this down to a 52 tooth, so now it has a little bit lower end grunt, and riding up through the hills the other day, it did perfect. Now, straight out of the gate, the TW is a great beginner's bike. Like I said, a bike for an expert. It is extremely low geared, it is extremely forgivable, and low speed maneuverability, it does great. High speed maneuverability, I've been able to go, you know, above 60 miles an hour on this on the road, and it has felt pretty stable. So if you're looking at the TW, you've probably seen something about the Deathwing front tire. The Deathwing front tire. There's a lot of threads on it, you know, in the forums. There's a lot of talk about it on the Facebook forums. And like I said, I've put just under 2,500 miles on this bike with that Deathwing front tire. On the street, I really like it. The only place that I'm not very happy with it is gravel roads. And while we were out riding the other day, I did lower my tire pressure to be on the dirt. And even then, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. So I went back to running 18 PSI in the front and the rear, and that feels really, for what it is, it feels really stable for me. I'm happy with it there, comfortable with it there. I do like the rear tire. It's big, it's meaty, it grips. I've had it in mud, I've had it. The only place I'm not the biggest fan of it is snow. Obviously, you know, motorcycles in the snow aren't really the most common combination. So I've taken it in the snow just around the house. I haven't really tried to go do any big rides on it. However, there is one person on YouTube, Adventure Riley, and I believe he's up in the Great White North of Canada. So to all of our friends up there, hello. But a lot of his Instagram posts, he's out riding the TW in the snow. And if I'm not mistaken, I was able to see that somebody commented on there, hey, what PSI are you running with that? And they were running 5 PSI on the rear tire. So as far as seat height goes on this is good for smaller riders, so shorter riders. I'm 5'6", I have a 30-inch inseam. This has a 31.1 seat height, and it makes it perfect. You know, I can flat foot this, and that's another reason I bought it, was if I'm going up over these obstacles or just out, you know, in a mountain trail or whatever, that lower seat height for me is good. If I get myself into a situation where I have to put my feet down, I can touch the ground and feel okay. Suspension wise, it's the stock suspension. You know, the guys that are riding these really hard, I've seen that they have put suspension upgrades in the front springs. They have done a rear spring upgrade as well. But for the riding that I do, you know, it's been good. I've been really happy with it. The stock foot pegs on this thing are extremely small. That is something else that you'll see a lot of people complain about or say, hey, get rid of those right away. And if you are going to be doing a lot of off-road riding, I agree with them. So up until just a few hundred miles ago, I was riding with the stock foot pegs, and I never felt that I was in a situation where the stock foot peg was insufficient. But now that I have upgraded to a newer foot peg that's a lot wider platform, it has a lot better grip, I mean, it literally is a night and day difference. So stock foot pegs, if you can find them, you know, there's a couple of them on Amazon that you can get that are like 20 bucks. They do require a little bit of modification to fit. IMS makes some really gnarly foot pegs that have quite a bit of grip on them. There are foot peg options out there that you can get. So, you know, if there's little things that you see or little things that you're wondering about with the TW, the bike has been around since 1987, and there are a ton of different accessories out there that you can get for the bike. So with a 7/8 handlebar, if you're not happy with the handlebars, there's bar risers, there's different style of bars you can get, different bends. If you're going to be doing a lot of, you know, off-roading and tipping over a bit, maybe jump up to 1 1/8 bar and just get that better rigidity out of there, you know, just to give yourself a little bit better platform. If you're a little bit taller rider, I want to talk about this real quick. Again, I'm 5'6". My wife is 5'4". She rides the bike just fine. She can put her feet down as well. However, I've had both of my brother-in-laws ride the bike, and both of them are over 6 feet. They both actually said that the bike was extremely comfortable for them sitting down. I asked them, okay, standing up, how's the reach? My one brother-in-law said, you know what, it's just fine. My other brother-in-law said, you know, it's not that bad. With me personally, if you're going to be standing up quite a bit, again, being 5'6", I do recommend at least getting a little bit of a taller handlebar riser in there. The only thing that you'll have to take into consideration is whether or not your cables and your stock wiring is going to fit. But again, those are things that, you know, can be fixed. T-Dub's kid has a great video on adjusting the handlebar height, and he goes through and shows the cables and the wiring and how to get around that obstacle of whether or not those are going to fit. So as far as a base goes, after almost 2 years of owning the bike, it's great. As a base, it's great. And once you ride it and you feel it and you experience it and you kind of notice these little things here and there for you, that's when you can start going, okay, maybe I want to do this, or maybe I want to do that. Maybe I don't like the front tire, I want to swap out to another one. Maybe that cycle rack looks way too big for what I want to do. Maybe I'll get the tusk rear rack. Maybe I'll get the stock Yamaha rear rack. I mean, there's a bunch of different things out there that you can get, and there is so much information out there, like I stated before, in TW forums, whether it be specific groups on Facebook. I mean, there's quite a few TW specific groups on Facebook that you can go in and ask a question, and within an hour, you're going to have a ton of different comments and a ton of different suggestions on this, that, the other thing. So if you're wondering, well, maybe there isn't a bunch of stuff out there, there really is. And there's a lot of people who have experimented in their own right with different things. There's one, I mean, you can do all sorts of stuff to this thing and make it your own. So again, the great thing about them is they've been made since 1987. In 2001, they got rid of the Kickstarter, which a lot of people, say, well, dang it, I wish they still had the Kickstarter. There are ways to get a Kickstarter for these. It just takes a little bit of digging, and then, that's something that you can add onto the bike later on. With me so far, I've only been in a few areas now where I can definitely see that having a Kickstarter instead of trying to bump start the bike is a definite plus. Riding the other day out in the the west desert of Utah, we were coming down a hill that was pretty rocky, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I finally get where everybody in my no kickstart, no problem video said, hey, there's some areas that it would definitely pay to have a kickstart. That was one of those areas. It was a steep decline that was rocky and gnarly as all get out, and I was sitting there thinking, I hope my battery doesn't die, because trying to bump start this thing in this specific terrain would be not that much fun. So overall though, I am extremely happy with this bike. And in all honesty, I would say that the vast majority of people who own the TW are happy with the bike as well. So if you're wondering whether or not to get one, I would say go ahead and do it. And if you do decide that you don't like it, these suckers hold their value better than a lot of the bikes that I've seen. It's crazy what the resale value of these TWs is. So out here, a 32-year-old bike can still go for over $2,000. I've seen them on our local classifieds. I've seen them in the Facebook marketplace. They maintain their value extremely well. So if you do end up getting one and decide that you don't like it, you can pretty much sell it for, I would darn near say, pretty close to what you paid for it. So yeah, I am extremely happy with my TW200. Like I said, it's almost been 2 years, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. It's been a bike that I've been able to make some great memories with my wife, with my kids, with just being out, in the countryside and being able to see the things that are around me. Now, the country's not the only place that this bike is a good bike. It could be an awesome urban commuter if you don't, live in it, or if you live in an area where you don't have to go over 55, 65 miles an hour regularly. This sucker's sweet, in stock gearing configuration, 60 miles an hour is very doable with this bike. So if you're a college student thinking, hey, I need something cheap to get me back and forth from the dorms or my apartment to school, look at a TW. You get 75 miles an hour, 75 miles per gallon out of this thing. And where gas is, creeping lower and lower and lower right now, which is good, let's keep it that way. You can fill the bike up for less than $5, which is not too shabby. So anyways, that's what I've got for you tonight. Again, this is a one take, just run and gun. If if there's any questions or comments or something that you're wondering about the TW, make sure to put it in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, and follow along, because even without a computer, I'm still going to be making the videos about the TWs, about motorcycling in general. And I'm just going to keep doing what I can to have fun doing this. So we'll call her there. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, make sure to follow along. So I'm Matt. This is my 2019 TW200. It's been an awesome bike. If you're thinking about getting one, I would highly recommend it. This is Mob Street. Thanks for watching.